Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they are at their stations, and report back to you, Madam President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there?
To this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room paraphernalia. I strive to keep the meeting room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The Reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The Treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington,
Your duties there?
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standing through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The Secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The Advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest, I am asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice will always be based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is the symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times and direct the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the President so stationed?
The rising sun is the token of a new era in agriculture. If we will follow the leadership of our president, then we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Madam President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are 7 members and numerous guests present, Madam President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here?
To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess.
May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this meeting of the Amboy FFA chapter now duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. Is there any new business?
Madam Chair.
Tanner.
I move that the Amboy FFA sponsor an agri-science fair for our section members this fall.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Amboy FFA chapter sponsor an agri-science fair for our section members this fall. This is debatable, amendable, and requires a majority vote to pass. Is there any debate?
Madam Chair.
Tanner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I made this motion because I feel this would be a great way to show our Amboy FFA chapters help get our Amboy FFA chapter out into the public, and it'll really help the publicity of our Amboy FFA chapter. This is why I urge you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Madam Chair.
Chair.
Weston.
I'm strongly in favor of this motion because I think this would, like Tanner said, add publicity to our chapter, and it would help us with the chapter awards. And it would just be great for the FFA chapter to sponsor something like this, and it would help people get some community service hours for their Sauk Impact program, which can get them free tuition to Sauk Valley Community College. This is why I urge you to vote in favor of this motion.
Madam Chair.
Kate.
I'm strongly opposed to this motion because I think kids are not interested in the agri-science. Kids are already signed up for welding and shop classes, which will take up a lot of their credits. They won't want to put time into agri-science and just won't be interested in doing ag science because they're already doing these other things that take up a lot of their time. So I just think there'll be no involvement in it. Kids will not be engaged, and that's why I urge you to vote opposed.
Madam Chair.
Manny. I'm in favor of this motion because I think that this would be a great way to recruit new members. A lot of our section members are interested in the agri-science, and maybe they could even be able to help impact other people into getting involved into agri-science. So therefore, I urge you to vote in favor of this motion.
Madam Chair.
Chase.
I'm in strong opposition to this motion because an agri-science fair would cost a lot of money, and we spent a lot of money planning for this for the state convention, and we spent a lot of money on new welders, so we wouldn't have a lot of money to sponsor an agri-science fair. That's why I urge you to vote opposed to this motion.
Madam
Alright,
Chair.
parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
What kind of vote is used to pass this main motion?
Robert's Rules of Order states that a majority vote is required to pass the main motion. Is there any further debate on the
Madam Chair.
Weston.
I move to amend this motion by adding on October 15th, 2024 at the end to say I move that the Amboy FFA FFA sponsor an agri-science fair for our section members this fall on October 15th, 2024.
Is there a
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to amend the main motion by inserting October 15th, 2024 after fall so that it now reads that the Amboy FFA sponsors an agri-science fair for our section members this fall on October 15th, 2024. This is debatable, amendable, and requires a majority votes passed. Is there any debate?
Madam Chair.
Weston.
I made this motion because I believe if this motion were to pass, we could have a date already set, and this would add more planning to where we can do this at. And also, people that want to help with the agri-science fair can also fix their calendars so they know that they won't be able to miss this and something won't be in the way of their calendar. So if we are able to figure out a date now, we can start planning for it now. This is why I urge you to vote in favor of this motion.
Madam Chair.
Jake.
I'm strongly opposed to this motion because I think that we need to discuss this more before we get a set date. People might be busy certain days, and there's only 7 of us here to decide on this. So if we decide on a date right now, there might not be a lot of other people available to do this date. That's why I think we should not have a date yet, and then we can come back and figure out a date in the next meeting later on. This is why I urge you vote opposed.
Madam Chair.
Logan.
I seconded this motion as this would give us plenty of time to plan it. It is in October, as Weston said, and everybody could get a bunch of their stuff in, learn about agri-science, and be able to do more for the fair. So please vote in favor of this motion.
Madam Chair.
Maddie.
I'm opposed to this motion because October 15, 2024, that is when the fall sports occur, and many of our students here are involved in things like volleyball and football, so they wouldn't be able to attend this agri-science fair, which would leave no people to be there. So therefore, I urge you to vote opposed to this motion.
Madam Chair.
Tanner.
I'm in favor of this motion because saying that we are making this date now is just not a great idea because we are all a bunch of freshmen. We don't have very much input on the FFA chapter, so if we make this date, then our officers would have no input, and our officers are very knowledgeable, and we should have them have an input on this also. This is why I urge you all to vote in favor of this motion.
I raise the question of privilege.
State your question.
It's stuffy in here. Can we please open the door?
No, we will not open the door because it is too loud out in the hallway.
Madam Chair.
Weston.
I made this amendment also because October 15th is a weekday, and during the week, for football players and everything, they're doing practice. There are no games on the weekdays. It's normally on Fridays and Saturdays for the football players, so they would just get excused from practice. This is so then they can actually make it instead of missing a football game. So if they wanted to help out, they wouldn't have to miss a football game to attend the agri-science fair. This is why I urge you to vote in favor of this motion.
Madam Chair,
Chase.
I'm opposed to this motion because, like Weston said, that's during football season, and that's primarily during the postseason stretch right before state. So I believe that people would want to care more about practice than going to an FFA agri-science fair. That's why I urge you to vote opposed to this motion.
Is there any further debate on amending the main motion by adding October 15th, 2024 after fall? Seeing none, we will now proceed to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
Seeing that the noes have it, this motion fails.
Madam Chair,
Chase.
I move to postpone this motion indefinitely to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to postpone this motion definitely to our next regularly scheduled meeting. This is debatable, amendable, and requires a majority vote to pass. Is there any debate?
Madam Chair.
Chase.
I made this motion because there's not a lot of planning on the topic right now. There's still a lot of unanswered questions that we could get answered if we just waited a week, sat on it for a bit, and maybe it would help us a lot more. That's why I urge you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Madam Chair.
Tanner.
I'm opposed to this motion because at our next regularly scheduled meeting, we won't have very many members because that is during our baseball regional, and I think there may be a sectional track meet during this date, so we won't really have very many FFA members at our next meeting, so we need to either postpone it to the next meeting after that, or we need to decide on it now. This is why I urge you all to vote opposed to this motion.
Madam Chair.
Maddie.
I'm opposed to this motion because we've already been talking about this for 9 minutes now. I think that we shouldn't postpone it to our next regular scheduled meeting because we've just already been talking about it for a while, and we really have gotten places. So I think that this shouldn't be something that we should move on to our next meeting. We should decide right now. Therefore, I urge you to vote opposed.
Madam Chair.
Jake.
I'm strongly opposed to this motion because I think we should just decide on it now. If we decide to for sure have this, then in the next meeting we can focus on more specific things like the date, like who's going to run it and all those, instead of at the next meeting, we'll still have to be deciding on this, if we're gonna do it or not. So I think we should just figure this out now, and this will be the base that will kind of set up the next meeting, so that, then we don't have to decide on this at the next meeting, and that's why I urge you to vote opposed.
Madam Chair.
Weston.
I seconded this motion because I also think we need to have more planning on this topic before we talk about it a little more. And our chapter officers will be at our next regularly scheduled meeting, so they can also have some input into this too. This is why I urge you to vote in favor of this motion.
Madam Chair.
Logan.
I'm in favor of this motion as we have a ton of unanswered questions that we could, in theory, be able to go home and think about and then bring to our next meeting. And it would just allow for better debate and more planning on this agri-science fair. And it would just be a great idea to just think about it more. So please vote in favor of this motion.
Is there any further debate on postponing this motion definitely to our next regularly scheduled meeting? Seeing none, we will now proceed to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
Seeing that the noes have it, this motion fails. Is there any further debate on the main motion that the Amboy FFA chapter sponsor an agri-science fair for our section members this fall?
Madam Chair.
Tanner.
I'm in favor of this motion because, as Maddie stated in her previous debate on this main motion, a lot of kids in our section are really interested in agri-science. So having this agri-science fair at Amboy would really help a lot of sections that are our section and the schools that are close to us that are really interested in this agri-science fair. This is why I urge you all to vote in favor of this motion.
Madam Chair.
Logan.
I am strongly opposed to this motion as we currently do not have the funds, and it would just be a bad idea because we also have to pay for state convention and the national convention for later this year, and we just would not have enough money to fund this and sponsor it. So please vote opposed to this motion.
Is there any further debate on the main motion? Seeing none, we will now proceed to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
Seeing that the noes have it, this motion fails. Mr. Secretary, do you have any record of any further business which should not be transacted?
I have none, Madam President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should properly come before this meeting? We are now about to adjourn this meeting of the Amboy FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, join me in the salute to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now declare this meeting adjourned.
All right, ladies and gents, we'll start with you, Madam President. If a motion is postponed to the next chapter meeting, when in the order of business would that motion be brought back for consideration?
At the next regular scheduled meeting.
Okay. Mr. Sentinel, if the motion to amend is applied to an amendment on a recess, what is this amendment called?
Secondary amendment.
Can this amendment be discussed?
No.
Okay. Madam Treasurer, as Treasurer, what are two duties of your office outlined in the official FFA manual?
To keep accurate treasury records and to present treasury records at each meeting.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Reporter, if an organization holds regular meetings on a monthly basis, for how long could a motion be postponed if the motion postponed definitely is adopted?
It can only be postponed to the next monthly meeting.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Secretary, if you are the chair and a member rises to a parliamentary inquiry and asks to adjust the volume of the microphone, how would you proceed?
I would rule on it myself, adjusting the microphone.
Mr. Advisor, in addition to the 6 officers included in opening ceremonies, what are 2 additional officers that a chapter could elect according to the official FFA manual?
Parliamentarian and historian.
Okay. Mr. Vice President, your question has 2 parts. What is the purpose of the motion question of privilege?
To make the meeting room more comfortable.
Okay. Is a vote required to adopt a question of privilege?
There is no vote to adopt question of privilege.
Okay, thank you. All right, ladies and gents, that concludes your presentation. You can leave your cards at your tables, take your pens and pencils with you, and have a great rest of your day.
You too.